Jason, what kind of shoe do you typically wear? What brand of shoe do you wear?
Typically I wear like Adidas trainers or Adidas like soccer shoes.
Not Nike, I see.
Sorry.
Well, we're also talking about them too. We're talking about Nike and Adidas and like a few other shoe wear brands. And we're talking about them today because footwear giants, Nike, Adidas, and others ask for tariff exemptions. You might have heard a little bit about the tariffs that are currently happening and some other parts that are paused, but yes, they're currently asking for some tariff exemptions. Um, so the thing is, America's largest shoe brands are asking the president for a tariff reprieve. The Footwear
Mhm.
Distributor and Retailers of America trade group sent a letter to the White House this week asking for exemptions to the so-called reciprocal tariffs, which the association said poses existential threat to the footwear industry. The letter is signed by 76 footwear brands,
That's a
including
lot.
Nike, Adidas, Skechers, and Under Armour. Yeah, it's a lot. So, what do you think? What do you think would happen if these tariffs go into place? I think everyone knows the answer to this.
I don't think the consumers are willing to pay that much for shoes. I think the price sensitivity of people is too high. Like especially right now with the uncertainty, to have them go up like 100% or something crazy like that, it'd be like it's just too much.
Yeah, it is. It is. I have a lot more to say about that. But before that, if you like interesting topics like this, consider subscribing. We put out interesting topics like this all the time, and we have a huge library of videos just like this. So consider subscribing. So yes, they said many companies making affordable footwear for hardworking lower and middle class or middle income families cannot absorb tariff rates this high,
Mm-mm.
nor can they pass along these costs without immediate relief from the reciprocal tariffs. They will simply shutter. This was from the letter which dated April 29th. They said many orders have been placed on hold and footwear inventory for
Hmm.
US consumers may run low. And the reason why this is important too is because what these companies do is that they bring in a massive amounts of orders before the tariff hits.
Oh, like
So if
Apple with
the
their huge plane full of full of
with
iPhones.
their huge yeah, so they have a huge surplus of
Mm,
phones right now,
interesting.
and or a huge amount of inventory of phones that they do have, or with these
Shoes.
footwear brands. Yeah, these shoes, they have a lot of shoes that are pre-tariffs, and what a lot of companies do is they're going to increase prices and they're going to sell these lower cost shoes and they're going to get better like margin on them, which means they're going to make more profit, more net revenue.
Hmm.
So yeah, so the thing is that Trump's wide sweeping tariffs announced on April 2nd included levies on several countries that are important sources for footwear suppliers, including China, Vietnam, Cambodia. While the initial tariff rate of more than 45% for Vietnam and Cambodia were lowered to 10%, for a
Hmm.
90-day period. That's important. 90-day period. The Trump administration has only ratcheted up duties on Chinese
Hmm.
imports,
Hmm.
which are now subject to an effective tariff rate of 145%. A lot of
Wow.
websites have been hit with that import charge. Some examples would be Temu and Shein, where now they're putting their import charge on there
Hmm.
because a lot of their stuff is sourced from China, or a
Yeah.
majority of it is. And then it says that Trump's higher tariffs on dozens of trade partners are set to resume in early July. So everyone is scrambling to make sure that they get inventory in a whole amount of good amount of inventory, and they're waiting to see if anything changes because like Adidas previously warned this week that the tariffs would lead to higher prices for American consumers
Hmm.
in late March before the specific reciprocal tariff rates were announced. Nike's finance chief said global levies and economic uncertainty would result in a lower current quarter sales. So everyone's in a tough place right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do wonder if even if they do unpause the tariffs and stuff, I wonder how fast it would be to get the factories back up and running. Because I've seen videos and clips of Chinese factories just empty, and a lot of people are being laid off or fired because there's no work. This shuttering down completely.
Yeah, I think I watched a video and I believe it said that the containers coming from China, they're like at 50 or 75% empty because it's just too expensive at this point for these companies to buy from there. But it is
Yeah.
the thing is that like Nike shoes are already really expensive.
Hmm.
Um,
I do wonder if it's going to increase the amount of cost to transport stuff overseas because now they're transporting less items per trip. So then, like,
mhm.
to offset the cost of making a trip as a shipping company with these large super tankers or cargo ships, I wonder how much it's going to cost. I feel like the rates are going to go up, not because of like increase in fuel or something, but because there's less people on board with like their containers.
Yeah, we have a couple of shoes pulled up here too. Um, Yeah, that like this is the currently price and the expected cost for some
Yeah.
of these shoes, which potentially they could actually be higher
Yeah,
because we don't
seemingly.
know what it will be at.
Because it looks like they only factored in like a 10% increase. I think it's a 10%
Hmm.
for the
The
pause.
base,
Yeah,
yeah, for the pause.
and it's
That,
still pretty pricey. But like you said, we pulled up additional stuff, and here's the interesting one for me is that this is a they were saying that it's going to be more money, but as we can see here, the $180 is the actual MSRP prior to the tariffs.
mm,
But this shoe hasn't even come out yet, so it's interesting that they would list it here as this money when it hasn't even like but, well, I guess it's
it has-
coming out soon, available
it's
soon,
coming out soon. They
so it must
probably
be
have
already
the
gone.
inventory already. They
Mm-hmm.
probably already have the inventory, and they're probably going to increase the price at some point is my assumption, unless they already baked in the tariff price. But they already
Mm.
like I want to reiterate this to people too. For the most part, what happens when a company raises prices is that prices typically don't come down
Mm-hmm.
from that. It only keeps on going up, and it's like in this case, it's like a firm like it's at least 10% for like all of these other places so far. Like that hasn't
Mm-hmm.
changed. The only worry now is that it's going to go up even
Yeah,
higher.
I do wonder though if they're going to even increase it or if they're going to keep it the same because this is a luxury good. This is no one's needing to get like expensive like Jordans or anything like that. So it's like a boutique thing, and I feel like all the reports are showing that Americans and people around the world are shying away from luxury purchases, and I guess you can consider this a luxury when you could buy cheaper shoes that fulfill the same purpose. So, or
Yeah,
maybe like not buying as many. Like you could buy one per year, but not like buy however many you did before.
yeah. The one thing it's because it's 76 different companies that
Mm-hmm.
signed this. So like Skechers, I feel like hasn't been known for like well, like this shoe right here, this 285, if this increases in prices, it's like who's going to
Yeah,
be buying it? Like at that
everybody,
point, it's like everybody's going to
runners.
buy it. Look how this is like if it shoots over $300, then it becomes less accessible even to like people that have a higher like income bracket. It it it
Which can be
reminds
fast,
me of
so
it
fast.
reminds me of like what like the current trend is people who used to shop at for example, people who used to shop at Target are now shopping at
Um,
Walmart because
yeah,
everyone's going down a tier. Um, and maybe the person who used to buy like these 285 shoes and that are now reaching 300, they're going to go to like 200 instead. And the
yeah,
people who were buying like more expensive shoes, they're going to go down one. So it's like it's
yeah.
limiting the pool of people who are getting these shoes.
I don't know. I feel like it's just gonna be they'll be using it for longer. They'll buy the shoe and then it's like normally maybe they run for I think the term is like 300 miles, 400 miles, depending on the
It's like
shoe.
three. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel
you're
like
right. It's
maybe
like
they're
300, 400 miles.
yeah maybe they're gonna go in this instead of giving up their shoe sooner. They're gonna be like, well, I could go for 500 miles, and then if as long as it's not broken, and then they'll just space it out further and further. Especially, I mean, these
Yeah,
are or they go down where they go down a tier because these are very like specific race day shoes, and this isn't exactly the like a this is like a luxury item, really.
100%. So, yeah,
Two eighty
almost
five,
$300, $300 with tax.
but
It's yeah, it's so expensive.
but if
But
they
yeah,
know they have
it's
the best shoe,
they do. Oh
so
my
that's
God.
like, well,
But yes, eventually, it's if if a person has these right now,
hmm
it's and if prices go up,
yeah,
they might potentially not buy these shoes again. They're probably
mm,
going to go to a lower priced one, especially because it's not
yeah,
only the shoes that are getting more expensive, it's everything around them that's getting more expensive as well. So they might not have as
yeah.
much disposable income because everything is
Mm.
rising.
Yeah, because
Um,
one thing I just thought of too is that with everything rising in cost, like the amount of money it would take to do an event, like if you're going to do a running event, that's going to go up in money. So it's like, oh, instead of doing like, let's say you do 3 or 4 runs a year, now you can't afford to do all 4 runs and pay for like travel or paying for the bib to run in the race because like
yeah.
so I like you said that I think you don't really realize it, but there are a lot of other factors that go into like a shoe purchase. Like, well, I'm gonna go run in this race and that race, but then like, well, if you can't afford the race, then why would you buy the race shoes to go?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. There's a lot of it's a large macroeconomic
Mm-hmm.
effect that's currently happening.
Can't buy the
And
eggs.
even if you can't find the eggs, yeah, even if you don't like the very last thing that I will
Mm-hmm.
say is that even if the shoe price stays the same, if everything else goes up in cost, that doesn't necessarily mean that the customers that have been historically buying the shoes will come back because now that everything else is more expensive, it might be out of their budget and they might buy a lower price shoe, and then everyone goes down a notch. So, um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes in like literally the next few months. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would want to know from our audience what they think about this, what they think about like potentially like if they do a shoe exemption, what that means. And yeah, I would just want to know from our audience their thoughts.